Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors remain unbeatable, and now that they have another NBA championship under their belt, where does this rank Klay, Steph, and Draymond as one of the best big threes of all time, and also this Golden State Warriors team as one of the best teams of all time? So obviously they've had a dynasty over the past 8 years, and I'm going to be giving you reasons on why I think this big three is one of the best big threes out there, and also I will be revealing at the end where I rank them out of the all-time best big threes. So before we get into it, make sure you like this video and don't forget to subscribe, hitting that red button down below. But let's get into the first reason, and the first reason is that this big three has the greatest shooter of all time. As you all know, Steph Curry currently holds the ranking for the most 3 points made with 3,100 roughly 3 points made, passing Ray Allen and also, other great shooters such as James Harden in the last season. So I think it's honestly fantastic that Steph Curry has been ranked one of the greatest shooters alive, because I honestly do see that he definitely is above the crowd, but to have him in this big three has really made this team special and has made this core team special as well, because Steph Curry actually is the franchise leader for most points at 20,000 points roughly, and most assists at 5,300 assists. So Steph Curry is not only just a great player in this Golden State Warriors team, but is probably going down as one of the best NBA players in history in the Golden State Warriors jersey. So I think honestly Steph Curry is great, and honestly after this ring it really has put him above on what has been done by other players in the past. As you all know, three-pointers are now a necessity because of Steph Curry and what he has brought. So this big three actually makes a little bit of history, because they are the only other big three to ever make 6 NBA finals in a span of 8 years, and the last big three to ever do that was none other than Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and also Dennis Rodman for the second half of 3 finals. But when it comes to Jordan and Scottie, they were all there throughout all 6 NBA finals, and Dennis Rodman did come halfway. But this big three is honestly probably going down as one of the best big threes because of what they did on the court. However, obviously we know Golden State Warriors have been breaking their records as of recent. As you all know, the record of 72-10 was actually broken by this Golden State Warriors team without even Kevin Durant. So the 73-win team that preceded him had no pushover, and in 2015 to 2016, Golden State Warriors broke the Chicago Bulls record for regular season wins, and its offensive rating was a whopping 8.1 points better than the league average. Thompson's shooting and off-ball movement had defenses scrambling and almost nightly baseless. Green's positionless defense and point forward ability made him one of the game's most versatile players at the time, and Curry's incomparable performance is what made this season for the ages. His 10.4 offensive box plus minus is the highest ever recorded among the 29 seasons in which a player averaged at least 30 points per 75 possessions. Curry's 66.9 true shooting percentage is easily the high, and it was 12.8% points better than the average in 2015 to 2016. So this trio was honestly dominant back in 2015 and 2016, and they are just as dominant when it came to this season, which is why they definitely won the ring. Now, a second reason why I think this is one of the greatest big threes out there is because not only do they have the greatest three-point shooter in the big three, but they also probably have the second best three-point shooter in the league, which is Klay Thompson. Now, Klay Thompson obviously did take a hiatus for the past 2 years because of his league injury, bringing him out pretty much for 2 seasons flat, and it really has been tough for him to get back to his strides. However, Klay Thompson was definitely on his way of becoming the second greatest shooter ever in the NBA of all time. Now, he's still a fair way behind. He actually didn't even reach the top 10 yet in most 3 points made of all time, and he actually has 1.9 thousand threes. So, he's still got a little bit way to go. Now, if he did play those 2 seasons that he was injured, I reckon he definitely would have been top 5 by now, maybe even at least top 8. However, obviously the 2 years really did play an effect, but can he make up for it? Guys, Klay Thompson is still very very young. His game isn't built off flash. It is just 3-point shooting, very nice spot up shooting. So I do think Klay Thompson could definitely, by the end of his career, be probably past Ray Allen. Now, Steph Curry, he probably won't reach Steph Curry because Curry's going to keep doing what he's doing. But could Klay Thompson surpass Ray Allen and become the second greatest 3-point shooter of all time? I honestly do think that as well. So that definitely puts this conversation of this big three as a really big powerhouse offensively. You know, Klay Thompson really does provide a lot that not many people know of even before this season, guys. You know, Klay Thompson back in the day is still a great player, and he's still continuing to push out great numbers even past his injuries. So, you know, this big three is made up of the two greatest shooters of all time. So this is definitely a big three you definitely want to be scared of because they are an offensive juggernaut. Now, I know a lot of you probably sleep on Draymond Green, but Draymond Green is just as vital to this big three and also to this team than the other two shooters. And I think what he really does provide when it comes to leadership, when it comes to his defensive intensity, and his intensity in general on the court really does provide a lot for this team that not many people see. It's the intangibles that Draymond Green does, and that's what you want out of a big three. Now, we saw that also with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. Yes, Michael Jordan was obviously the scorer. We had Scottie Pippen, who was one of the greatest defenders at the time and can definitely guard 1 through 5. And then you had Dennis Rodman. And Dennis Rodman is pretty much an identical version of Draymond Green. He's a rebounder. He's a defensive stopper. He does everything that Jordan and Scottie can't do because they have other responsibilities, and that's basically his role. So a lot of people really do shout out on Draymond, saying, you know, he's not as important as Klay and as Steph, but Klay and Steph wouldn't get the open shots if it wasn't for Draymond getting the ball to them. They wouldn't get the shots if he wasn't playing great on defense, if he wasn't getting the rebounds, all these things. So, you know, Dennis Rodman and also Draymond, they're pretty much the exact same player, and that's why I have a little soft spot for both of them, because they are pretty much kind of like the third stringer when it comes to the party, but I'm telling you, they are just as important as the other main two. And I think a lot of people do see that. It's always Jordan and Scottie, but you never hear about Dennis Rodman, or it's always Curry and Klay, and you never really hear about Draymond. But Draymond is definitely a great part, and I think what he has provided for this team is not only just, you know, great leadership, but his defensive presence was really seen not only in this playoff series, but also in his other NBA championship runs. Now, even when KD was there, Draymond did a great job filling his role and doing what he does best and playing defense, and it definitely did show, which is why they ended up winning back-to-back championships then. And, you know, it's great to see that Draymond is back to where he's at. But when it comes to him as a franchise player, yes, he may not, you know, get all the praise that Curry and Klay do, but when it's all said and done, is Draymond a Hall of Famer? I do think so. And also, would he get his jersey retired? Sorry, I honestly think so as well. He really does deserve it. So the age-old question do you want to know is, where does Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green rank as one of the best big threes of all time? Right now, guys, I would still put them at second place. I'm sorry, but I know Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman are very old when it comes to the new generation, and you're probably saying they never had the greatest shooter of all time or the second greatest shooter. They don't have the best win record or anything like that. But to put it all in perspective, guys, Jordan, Scottie, and Dennis, and not even Dennis per se, have won 6 championships. Yes, they did make 6 finals in 8 years, and they won every single finals. Golden State Warriors, on the other hand, was very different, and also they had Draymond Green, you know, being replaced by Kevin Durant on 2 of those championships. So there's little things like that that really do play into it. You know, Jordan and Scottie basically won the first 3 championships by themselves, and then the next 3 with Dennis Rodman. So technically, there wasn't even a big 3 at the start. It was basically a big 2 that just turned into a big 3. So for Scottie and also Jordan to pull off 3 championships, you know, pretty much a trio, which is very, very hard, guys. We haven't even seen a back-to-back-to-back in a while. 3-peat is very hard to come by nowadays. You know, the last team to ever do that was honestly Shaq and Kobe, but now it's very obsolete. Back-to-back is already hard enough, and for them to go, you know, 3-peat is honestly seeming impossible. So I think honestly, Jordan, Scottie, and Dennis still have the number 1 spot. However, I do put Curry, Klay, and Draymond as the number 2 spot. They have definitely overtaken teams such as the Spurs, I feel. They've also overtaken other big threes such as LeBron and the Miami Heat. There's also other big threes, even the unsecluded or unconcluded OKC with Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. Then yes, they didn't really achieve anything. That's why I would definitely put them over them. But Curry, Klay, and Draymond, maybe if they had a couple of other championships under their belt, maybe we could have this discussion again. But for right now, I'd still put them at second place. But I would put them now over the Spurs and also even LeBron and the Miami Heat. A lot of people thought that this big three was definitely in the top 5, but they weren't definitely in the top 3 or top 2. But now after this championship, I definitely would have to say that Draymond, Klay, and Curry have proved themselves, and that puts them at the second spot. So guys, let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you reckon they should have the number 1 spot? Do you reckon it should still be Jordan, Scottie, and Dennis, or has Golden State Warriors taken over, and do they deserve the number 1 spot as one of the best big threes to ever go down in history? Let me know down in the comments, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Peace.